All right, now so everyone on YouTube and Facebook should be able to hear me. Hopefully we're coming in. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're coming in good. Now, so since there wasn't any audio for the beginning part of this here, State of Real Estate, 12 noon every Wednesday, we're talking about what it is that real estate professionals actually do, that a real estate agent, that a realtor, whatever it is that you're calling yourself, a broker, what is it that you do in this whole process? Why is it that you get paid the amount of money it is that you do? So in order to really take this to the top level, to the top of your game, you really need to get clear on what your role is in all of this stuff. When you understand what it is that you have to do, you're able to exponentially focus on your powers on what it is and exponentially grow your real estate business if you know what it is that's your job, the things that aren't necessarily your job. Now, again, like I was saying, real estate professionals are the executives of the real estate transaction. Just like a business executive, the executives leading a company, the chief executive officer, the people in companies that are the highest paid typically in the company, real estate professionals, real estate agents are usually the highest paid. Other than the seller, if they're making a considerable amount of money on the sale of their home, they might be making more money than you. But aside from the seller, you're usually the one making the largest amount of money. So why is it that you're paid the way it is? And now understanding this, not only are you going to be able to better sell yourself to your clients, but you're much better able to pick up the pieces when things start to fall apart. So like I said, you're the executive. You're the overseer of a lot of these processes. It's not just that you get a property under contract and you're done, your job is done. You're just, just wait for my closing check to come in. That's how a lot of real estate professionals operate, but that's not what a real estate professional is intended to be. You're the executive overseeing the entire transaction, overseeing the entire sale, and ensuring that everything goes smoothly. And now, how do you ensure that everything goes smoothly? Well, number one, you understand what that process looks like, what smoothly actually means, what this is supposed to happen, what leads to what leads to what. And when something goes wrong, when something's not right, that you're able to kind of pick up these pieces and put things back together. When the deal starts falling apart, when the seller starts getting frustrated, when people are offering them lower prices, or a buyer is getting frustrated because the seller's countering back or saying that they're firm on their price or anything like that, it's your job to explain what's going on and what we could do to move forward to ultimately achieve that goal. There's a lot of different hats it is that you wear as a realtor, as a real estate professional, as a sales associate, as a broker, whatever it is that you are, being this kind of middleman, this executive overseeing the entire sales process. A lot of different hats it is that you wear. Part-time, you're a psychologist, a psychiatrist. Well, not a psychiatrist because you're not prescribing any medicine. Your prescription is getting the house sold and getting everyone to come back to their senses. So part of that, you're a counselor. You're kind of understanding what it is, what's their objective, and what's the best way to achieve that objective. And you as the real estate professional, it's your job to have the knowledge and information to best understand the most effective way to achieve the objective that that particular client wants. So if they're looking to buy a home, and let's say that with the buyer that they're only want to spend X amount of dollars. They only want to spend, let's say, $300,000. But you've understood what it is that they want. You've got them the pre-qualification, and they could qualify for a higher amount than that, but they only want to buy at this dollar amount because they want to stay within a certain budget and so on and so forth. Well, as a counselor, because this is a big problem a lot of agents run into when they're working with buyers. When they're working with buyers, they're almost afraid to tell them the truth. Afraid to tell them, hey, the house it is that you want, you're not really going to find it in this price range. We have some houses available that are like this, but they're out of your price range. Seems simple enough, but it's something that a lot of real estate sales associates, brokers, they want to just kind of, they don't want to say, hey, and look, I'm a big proponent of, never saying that something isn't possible. But, I mean, for a certain type of house, it might be possible, but now how long are you willing to wait to try to hopefully find something like that? Why are we looking at these other houses if it's not what you want? Why are we looking at these houses when they're out of your price range? So it's really understanding this full picture, and you need to be in control of the transaction. That's what your job is as the executive, as the real estate professional, is overseeing this transaction and being in charge of what's going on and what's happening. It's you that's responsible for everything. It's you that's in charge of this. It's your duty. It's your obligation. It's your responsibility to get the buyers what they want, to get the sellers what they want, to get the transaction to go through. Because that's the whole reason they're entering into this arrangement with the first place. And if you're at all unclear on that, the first question you want to ask, one of the most important questions you want to ask for a seller is, do you really want to sell your house? When's the date you need it sold by? And really understanding the why behind that as well. Why it is that you want to sell it, when you need to sell it by, and do you really want to sell it? If you've got firm yes answers, and a firm date, and not just saying, oh, I want to sell it, but, and when it sells, that's no big deal. That's somebody who doesn't really want to sell their property. Which, again, you've got to understand really what's going on when people say certain things, or when they have certain gestures. They say, yeah, I want to sell it, but, I don't care when it sells. That's somebody who doesn't really want to sell the property. Or maybe they're confused about this, or they're not sure if they want to sell the property, so they're not sold on that. So what is it that your job is now as a counselor with them? Helping them understand, okay, well, you said this is why you want to sell the property. And maybe that why is because they want to move into a newer, larger property. And if they want to move into a newer, larger property, maybe it takes them seeing some of those newer, larger properties to really lock them in and say, okay, yes, I need to sell. I want this property. I need to sell by this time, as soon as possible, by this date at the latest. And when you've got that figured out, say, okay, this is the date I need to sell by, or I need to sell by the end of the year, or before the end of the summer, or before this or that, or before Christmas, or whatever that date and that exact timeline is. Okay, now we're clear on things. That's step one in everything as a real estate professional, and this helps make everything a lot smoother going forward. There's words that we talk about in the pre-licensing course, an express versus an implied. We talk specifically about a contract in the course, but this applies for any sort of agreement or any sort of promise. When you're trying to enter into this agreement to help them buy a home or to help them sell a home, you need to get clear on everything that's involved. Why are they wanting to buy? Why are they wanting to sell? When do they need to buy by? What is that exact date? Because if they don't have an exact date, if they don't have an exact timeline, they're not motivated to buy or sell if they don't say, okay, I need to do this by this date. And now, your job as a real estate professional, it isn't just to kind of drop the ball on them and just say, okay, well, you're not ready for this. Call me when you're ready. Because guess what? They're probably not going to call you back. That's what a lot of real estate professionals understand this. They understand if the buyer or seller is not highly motivated, then they're unlikely to really buy or sell. Sometimes they're not even motivated enough to sign a contract yet. And that's okay if you want to walk away from that, but don't expect for them to call you back. So what can you do to take control of this? If you're hurting to make a sale happen, if you need to make a sale happen and you know that they would benefit by this and that would ultimately be the best thing for them, how can you further make this real? How can you turn this just from some sort of vision that they have in their head? Now, sometimes people are highly motivated and they come to you highly motivated. Hey, look, I've got transferred. I need to sell my home as soon as possible. Those are the easy sales because it really relieves the burden on you of having to kind of counsel them and really gotta get clear about why it is they need to sell it, when they need to sell it by. When they're coming to you because they've got transferred or they're moving somewhere because of whatever the reason may be and they've already got that 100% clear, you don't have to come up with all that stuff. But when they maybe just want to upgrade their home or they just want to move maybe to a new area, but the key word here is want, not need, when they want to do these things. Okay, well, let's now get clear on why it is that you want this and develop this strong want. So this want is almost like a need. So we're going to talk more about that after this short commercial break, more about the express agreement where everything's negotiated and figured out versus the implied where we don't really have things figured out. We don't know what we're doing because the first thing to know what we're doing is to know the specifics of the transaction and how we're going to best achieve that. So that's really the prerequisite to all of this here. We're going to talk more about what real estate agents actually do after the short commercial break, so stick with us. I'm John Christmo. You're watching State of Real Estate. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Christmo with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. I finally got the comments loaded up for Facebook and YouTube here, so if you guys got questions or comments on any of this stuff, send that in. I want to give a shout out to Johnny Mashi. Thanks for commenting in, letting us know that there was an issue with the audio. We had no idea that was going on here, so thank you. If there's ever any issues with that stuff, throw that in the comments so I could have our video genius take a look at the things and make sure everything is streaming well, but it looks like we're good to go right now. What we're talking about today is what is it that real estate professionals do? Are we just overpaid salespeople, or do we serve some sort of integral role in the sales transaction where the sales transaction would not go through if it wasn't for us? So everyone gets excited about starting a career in real estate because they're like, wow, I could get paid all this money in commission if I close both the buyer and the seller on a single transaction. Then on, let's say, a $400,000 home, I could make like $12,000. And people see that and are like, wow, they see the dollar signs. Or even if I'm only representing the seller in the transaction on that $400,000 home. Well, no, the $400,000, that is just working with the seller getting $12,000 that you're paid. If you're working with the buyer and the seller, it's not $12,000, it's $24,000 that you're getting paid. So pretty big paydays. But now, what makes you worth that $24,000 or even the $12,000? I mean, it takes some people an entire year to make $24,000. Why should you get paid that much for a single transaction? The purpose of the real estate professional is to be the executive of the transaction. That's why you guys always see me with my little jackets on. I'm going kind of casual today. Got just the V-neck shirt on under this here, but class it up with a little bit of a jacket. You guys want to look like an executive because that's what you are. You're a real estate executive. You're there to make sure all the pieces of the transaction come together. Buying or selling a piece of real estate is an uber complex process, and our knowledge and our information on how this all goes through. Now, the more knowledge you have about a particular process, the better. So, for example, just this week I was working with a client, and they're purchasing a new home and actually representing them on the sale and the purchase of the same home, selling their home and buying the new home, helping them out with both sides of that there. But there was an issue when they were going to basically get the loan for the new home with the income. They're both self-employed persons, and the income scan that we had for this year was over 100 pages of bank statements, accounting forms, and things like that. And it got to the point where the loan officer said, hey, look, I can't find what we're looking in here. We're not going to be able to do this loan. And they were all but done with this process. And that's what you see with a lot of professionals, not just the professionals, but also buyers and sellers in a transaction. The first sign that something's going to be more difficult, game's over. All bets are off. We're done here. We're heading home. We're closing it up. This transaction isn't going to happen. That's where we come in as an executive to, okay, let's see what's going on here. It's not the end of the world. There's no one thing that kills any deal. So yeah, maybe there's an issue with the financing. Maybe there's an issue with the documents. Maybe there's an issue with something on that end. But now what is it that we have to do? So knowing what's going on. Hey, look, we've got all this paper here. We've got the seller saying that they pay taxes, that both of the self-employed sellers are paying taxes, but so in order to pay taxes, you have to report income to the IRS, but yet the loan officer is saying, hey, there's no income in any of this paperwork. We can't find anything in here for what it is, and therefore we can't do the loan. Sorry about that. Have a nice day. I wasn't about to let the transaction stop because of this loan officer that just wants to throw in the towel. And that's all too common in the real estate industry, not just with loan officers, but maybe with an appraiser or an inspector or a closing company or a buyer or a seller or real estate professionals. There's a commonality among so many people of where, things start, the going gets tough, you throw in the towel. Perseverance is one of the most essential traits in the real estate industry. That I would actually put over anything else. If there's one thing I would say that's important in the real estate industry, it's perseverance. Because even if you're doing something the wrong way, you'll eventually figure out the right way. If you stick with it, if you've got your head down long enough, it doesn't matter how it is that you're doing it, you'll eventually find some level of success. But now you pair that with the right training and the right information, and that perseverance, now you're going somewhere. Now you're on the fast track to success. So going back to this transaction, what we had to do to solve this, it was actually a pretty simple solution on my part. Got the contact info for the accountant, called up the accountant and said, hey, this loan officer doesn't know what they're looking at here. Where can they find the income? Oh yeah, check on this page, on this form, line number 2. Oh, look at that. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. Thank you so much. Send that over to the loan officer. Send them just the pages that they need. Hey, look, here's the pages it is that you need. Look at line number 2. There's your income. Oh, wow, great catch. Thanks. So let's go ahead and get this back rolling again. They were ready to stop. They were ready to call it quits. They're getting paid on making this loan. Why they're so willing to call it quits on something like this, I don't know. Maybe they've got just so much business that they don't need this extra transaction. Maybe that's the altruistic side of this of, hey, look, they're just really busy, so they don't need every deal it is that comes across them. They know some of the deals aren't going to work. But for the real estate professional, it's your job. And yes, there's a certain aspect of this that you want to have a full pipeline because not every deal will work. There's not every buyer is going to be qualified to buy a home. Not every seller is qualified to sell their home. Maybe they owe too much money and they don't want to do a short sale. All right, well, that's not a seller that is able to sell their home. Or the buyer, if they just simply don't have enough income, they might not be able to buy a home. Or maybe they don't have the documentation necessary for the income. There's a lot of different things that makes it where clients truly cannot. But when your knowledge and expertise as the real estate professional, as the real estate executive tells you that, hey, this should be able to work. We've got the seller saying that they've got income. They've got these tax returns. There'd be no reason to have a tax return if you don't have income. If you don't have income, you don't need a tax return. There's obviously a tax return. Something's not right here. Let's find out what this is so we make sure that this deal goes through. And again, that's what your job is. It's almost like, sometimes I feel like I'm playing Humpty Dumpty. And that the egg keeps breaking and you're the king's horses and the king's men. And you're trying to put everything back together. And it seems like everyone else is trying to break the egg. Everyone's breaking eggs and you're just constantly picking up pieces and putting things back together. Sometimes that's how it is. And really to be able to put these pieces back together, you've got to understand what it is that you're doing. You've got to know, okay, they need income. They're trying to prove income. They're trying to verify the income. They've got all these tax forms, but they don't know which one it is. Okay, well, let's find out where the income is so we can make the job easy for them. Sometimes it's your job to make other people's jobs easier. Even though that loan officer is ultimately responsible for making the loan happen and actually creating and putting together this loan, If they're not good at their job, or maybe they just don't want to do their job, or maybe they don't know how to do their job, whatever that may be, that's where you come in as the knowledgeable professional to make sure things happen. You're the executive in all of this here. There's a great story back about I'm trying to remember where it is that I found that I remember reading this from. It's some book, and it's about Henry Ford, and how he had this team. He surrounded himself with the best of the best of the best. And any question, and he was criticized for not knowing the particulars and not knowing the details. But what he did know how to do was bring people together, to bring experts together and make this thing happen. These experts alone for working for Ford couldn't go out and build the Model T or really, and not just maybe build the Model T, but also market it and turn it into the sensation that it was and turn Ford into what it is today. No one person alone could have done that. By leveraging these other people and bringing them together. And that's what Ford, this executive, a perfect example of an executive, he didn't know the details himself. I don't know all the details of what a loan officer does, or all the details of every last thing that an inspector is doing, or how they inspect for certain things. I don't know every last detail, but I have a general understanding of the process, and enough of an understanding so that when this person's having an issue and this detailed person knows the solution to that issue. Again, going back to that example I gave, the loan officer not knowing about which document has the income. Okay, well, who would be the person that deals with taxes, that understands these tax forms, that would know where the income is? Well, that's the accountant. And guess what's typically right in there with all the tax returns? The accountant's information. So you can just find the contact's information, the accountant's information. Hey, look, I've got my client's tax return here. The loan officer is having some trouble with this. They don't know where the income is. They're saying that there's no income. Can you help me out with this here? So you're bringing these pieces together. You're bringing these people together, the two different experts that know, because I myself wouldn't know. I tried scanning through this 100-page document of all these tax returns documents, and if I had 4, 5, 6 hours to sit there and read every line of this, I could probably figure out what we're dealing with here, especially with the help of Google. But I didn't want to spend 6, 7, 8 hours going through all this information. So what did I do? I found the expert that was responsible for preparing these tax documents, spoke with him, and within a matter of 30 seconds, he was able to tell me, go to this form, line number this, that's where you've got your information. Oh, thanks so much. Thanks for your time. You have a great rest of your day. Okay, loan officer, this is where you've got to look. This is where the income is. Let's get this going. Oh, perfect. That's what I needed. All right, let's get rolling. And that's it. So a lot of what you're doing is understanding this. Now, this is what happens after we're under contract and after we've got things going on and after we've got everything figured out, that we're connecting these dots of this. We really move into this overseer role, especially if we're representing a seller or even if we're working with a buyer. Up until finding that property or getting the property under contract, that's where a majority of our detailed hands-on work goes into play here. But now, once you're under contract, you should have every single one of your contracts closing. That should be your goal, to get every contract to close. If you've got people that are willing to get under contract, to put deposit money down with a contract, to legally promise that they're going to do what they say they're going to do, even if there's inspection periods, even if there's all these contingencies associated with it, it now becomes your job and your role to make sure that that goes through. It's your duty, your obligation, your responsibility for your clients, not just to get the property under contract, but make sure that that contract goes through. Because if that contract doesn't get through, are we going to get paid? No. Are we going to just sit around and cry about it? No. You want to, again, you don't want to have your success be the responsibility of anyone else except for yourself. By putting the loan 100% in the loan officer's hand and not having anything to do with it, not overseeing that or not being in touch with them and not being that executive there, you're putting the success of this transaction, the success of you getting paid for this, and ultimately your success as a real estate professional in the hands of the loan officer. Or you're putting your success in the hands of whoever may be involved in this transaction. So again, it's your job to bring these pieces together, to put things together and really make it all work. Shout out to Jack Mike tuning in from the Philippines over on Facebook. I love it when we get people from all over the world, especially what we're talking about today. Sometimes we're talking about things that are maybe specific to Florida laws or specific to the U.S., but we've got Jack Mike coming in from the Philippines. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you watching and commenting on the show. We've got a lot of followers. If anyone out there from Australia, I know we've got a lot of people in Australia too that like watching the show. Let me know that you guys are tuning in. I really appreciate you watching. If you got any questions on any of this stuff here, make sure you drop those in the comments. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to be talking more about what is it that real estate agents really do, so you understand what you do, so you can really do what you need to do to be successful. So stick with us. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have done for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate. Hey, welcome back to this week's episode of State of Real Estate. Every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, we come to you live to mastermind, to grow your real estate business, to take it to the next level, even if it's just taking it from not having a real estate career to starting a real estate career. What we're talking about today, and this applies even if you're thinking about real estate, if you're new to real estate, or you've been in real estate, you really need to understand the role of what it is that you're doing. And you're the executive. You're the responsible for everything. There's so many moving parts in the real estate sales process, and it's a very complex process involving lots of people. Before we went on the break, I was talking about Henry Ford and how he was known, almost in a bad way, that he didn't know anything about the cars or all these details of how the cars were built, how the cars were marketed, and all this stuff like that. But he was just a quick phone call away. There's a specific, and I wish I could remember the book that I'm getting this story from. But there's a specific story where Henry Ford was at a desk and he invited the press in to grill him because of this criticism on any questions it is that they had. And anytime they asked him a question, he'd pick up the phone, get the answer for those questions. And they would say, well, but Mr. Ford, you don't know these questions. You're just calling your people. But he said, yes, these are my people. And that's why I surround myself with these people, to know the things it is that I don't know. And that's what your job is, to really surround yourself with the best of the best. If you've got your choice of loan officer or title company in the transaction, which typically you do. If let's say you're representing the seller and the seller's asking you, okay, well, who are we going to use for a title company? Well, look, there's a lot of options that are out there, but I would recommend that you use this title company. They know what they're doing. I've got a great relationship with them, so if there's some sort of issue in the transaction, if there's something going on, something comes up, I'm able to kind of go directly in there. With other title companies, I can still try to do that, but there's still no guarantees. I've worked with these people before. They know what they're doing. We have a good relationship together, so we can make this happen. Now, you don't always have that luxury. You don't always have that luxury of saying, oh, hey, this is my buddy Bill at ABC Title. What's going on with this transaction, Bill? There's this. Okay, well, what can we do for this? What do you need me to do? How can I help? And if you've got that relationship, that's easy. But you don't always have the choice of the title company. A lot of times you can make the recommendation, but sometimes the buyer wants to choose the title company. Maybe it's a specific type of buyer, maybe an investment buyer or something like that, where they're very particular that they want to use a particular title agency, mainly because they have that relationship with that title agency. So sometimes you'll have to kind of go out there and meet some new people, to make some new friends, to kind of get in touch with them. Hey, look, I wanted to introduce myself. I'm working with the seller in this transaction here. I know you guys have a previous relationship with that buyer, but just like you and just like the buyer, I want the transaction to be able to go through, and I'll do everything I can to help assist you with that. So anything it is that you need, just let me know. And anyone that's involved in the transaction, you want to make that introduction. Not just know who it is, who's doing the inspection, who's doing the appraisal, who's doing the closing, who's doing the loan, but like I said, putting yourself into that situation to where you're able to assist with that. A lot of times in the real estate world, when these people are obtaining a loan, they're doing that on their own. They're doing that without any recommendation of a loan officer or a mortgage company from the real estate professional. They're just doing that on their own. And when you're disconnected from that, so how hard would it be for Henry Ford to be able to answer these questions about his vehicles and about his business if he couldn't pick up the phone and talk to these people? He wouldn't be able to do that. So as a real estate professional, you're the executive overseeing everything and pulling all these pieces together, knowing the people that are doing this and who it is that you need to talk to if you need details with a certain item. With the insurance on this too, I mean, that's usually a pretty straightforward and simple process, but sometimes you might have to get involved with some of this stuff to say, hey, what can I do to help make this possible, to help make this go through? Is there something you need from me? Is there some document that I could get you? Is there something I could clear up for you? Anything like that. But let's talk a little bit now about like this leading up to this. We spent a lot of time, because this is where a lot of real estate professionals drop the ball, is in the part after they're under contract. They think, okay, we've got it under contract, great. That means that's a guarantee that I'm going to get my commission. Well, if it closes, then pretty much. But if the property doesn't close, if the transaction does not go through, you're going to have a hard time collecting your commission money on a sale that never happened. You're not going to get commission money on a sale that doesn't happen. So it's still your responsibility to make sure that this transaction goes through. But let's now talk about getting under contract. Let's talk about the negotiations, because this is another area. Because without getting under contract in the first place, there's no chance that you're going to get commission. So you need to get to contract and then now worry about kind of connecting yourself and bringing all these pieces together and making sure everything goes smoothly. But now getting under contract. So when let's say we're dealing with a seller, and on our listing appointment, again, the key questions that you need to ask are you sure that you want to sell? Are you 100% committed to selling your home? If they're 99% committed, what do we got to do to get them to 100% committed? If they're 50% committed, okay, there's a big loss here. What is it? Because you don't want to waste your time on somebody who is not committed to selling their home. Now, if you can make them committed, that's worth your time. If they say, oh, I want to sell, I want to move up to a new home, but, well, what's the but? A lot of times they don't say the but. They just say, yeah, I want to get a new home. But, what's the but? So a lot of people don't ask for what that but is. You got to really listen to what people are saying. When they say, yeah, I want a new home, not I need a new home. They say, I need a new home. Okay, we're okay. Let's get you a new home. How soon do you need it? Oh, you need it next month? Perfect. Let's get the ball rolling here. Let's get a property under contract so we can get you in a new home in a month. They say they need a new home. That's good. If you want to listen to these words, because you hear the word need, you need to sell or you need to buy, that's okay. We've got a highly motivated client here. But somebody that says, I want a new home, they're not highly motivated. And it doesn't mean that you shouldn't work with them. It means you have to treat them differently. And they're going to be a little bit more intensive than somebody who needs to get a home and they need it. And when we have that need, when it's necessary now, people aren't always willing to nitpick about certain things if they need a new home. If it's that they want a new home, okay, well, let's define this want. You want a new home, but what? What's holding you back? Why are you not in a new home yet? Why haven't you sold the house yet? What's going on? And you don't want to ask the questions with such fierce intensity like I'm rattling these off here, but these are the ultimate questions you're trying to answer inside yourself. Okay, so what's making you want to sell your home right now? Oh, well, we'd like to have something a little bit bigger. This kitchen's kind of outdated. It's kind of small, and this and that. Okay, well, how is that small kitchen? What did you? So I get a better idea of what we're looking for here. What do you want out of the bigger kitchen? Do you just want more room to cook, or are you looking for more room for entertaining? Ideally, what would that big kitchen do for you? And now what you're doing here, not only are you getting valuable information to their motivations and their desires to help pair them up with the perfect home, but you're also able to help them get a better understanding of what it is that they really want. One of the biggest complaints I hear from real estate professionals, and look, I've been a victim of this as well, is that you end up showing home after 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 home. And so the National Association of Realtors says on average it takes 24 hours of time to close a buyer as opposed to about 8 hours of time closing a seller. Why is it on average so much longer to close a buyer? Well, the reason is the buyer's not sure what it is that they really want. So having this initial consultation, okay, you want to get into a newer, larger home. So tell me about this newer, larger home. What parts of it do you want it to be larger? And you don't want to even give suggestions unless you have to. You want it to come from them organically, and then you build on that. So they say, oh, well, we really need an extra bedroom. There's that word. There's that word need. So if they start saying these needs are things where there's a high level of motivation behind them. Wants are things where there's a low level of motivation. Wants are nice, needs are must-haves. So again, you've got to pay attention to these words. You might even want to actually go in and get some sort of pad or paper or something and maybe make 2 columns, needs and wants. And you write that down, you've got your 2 columns. Whenever you hear them say need, okay, we need an extra bedroom. We want a larger kitchen. We want a pool. We want this extra car garage. And so when you're breaking down the difference between these needs and wants, when you're trying to pair them up with the perfect property and doing this initial consultation, a lot of people when they see these shows on TVs, and yes, there's a lot of these real estate shows are Hollywood, but one of the things that is true about these real estate shows, or can be true, is that whole showing 3 homes and okay, pick the one that you like. But how do you do that? How is that true? How is that possible? Because that's not how most buyers' agents handle their buyers. They're showing them 10, 15, 20 properties before they find one that they've settled on. And what happens when you show them that many properties is their head starts spinning. They forget which this house looked like and this house looked like, and they're looking at the same houses again a second time because they wanted to see it again because they forgot what it looked like. So in order to get to that point where you're showing 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 houses, that should be your goal, no more than 5 houses. If you're showing more than 5 houses, you did not do a good job consulting and counseling your client. You want to start off this home sale process, even if this is a Zillow lead or a Realtor.com lead where they're calling you up and say, hey, can you show me when can you show me 123 Main Street? Oh, well, I've got something available this week to show you 123 Main Street, but what I'll need you to do is come into my office first. We're going to do a quick consultation, run you through some stuff here, and find out if this is going to be the right home for you. And they're probably going to give you some pushback on that. They might say, okay, if that's the case, okay, you've got a reasonable type of client, but most clients are going to give you some pushback. They'll say, oh, no, I don't want to come into your office. I don't want to do anything. And you say, look, I understand. With this here. And look, I just want to emphasize that my services are not going to cost anything to you, because that's one of the concerns they're probably going to have. One of the objections, that they don't want to come into your office because they think they're going to have to pay you some sort of money. Hey, look, there's no obligation to you. There's already I have agreements with almost every seller in the county, in the area, to pay me a commission, so you won't have to pay the commission. And they say, wow, you have agreements with every agent and every seller, almost every seller in the county, in the area? Well, yes, I do. It's through the MLS system. It's pre-negotiated agreements for anyone that's a member of the MLS or any real estate professional that wants to come in and sell the property. So you could explain that to them. Hey, look, I'm not trying to hit you up for money or anything like that. I've already got pre-negotiated agreements with almost every seller, with the exception of for sale by owners. But even then, they're usually already are advertising that they'll pay some lower commission to a broker that helps them sell their home. So I've got agreements with almost every seller in the area to be paid a commission so you guys won't have to. So the reason why I want you to come into my office isn't so that I could get you to sign paperwork that says you have to owe me money or anything like that. Again, I'm going to get paid by the seller. You want to make sure you emphasize that point. Look, I need you guys to come in here because I want to go through and really kind of go into some of these details here, walk you through a little bit about what I'll do for you guys and then what I expect for you guys to do in return during the sale process. And so that way it'll make my job easier and it's going to be a less frustrating experience for you guys. It's a win-win. They don't want to be frustrated, so it makes sense now for them to come into the office. And if they're still giving you pushback, look, I know this that you guys just want to see that home. I'm excited to see this home too, a matter of fact. But look, I just want you guys to come into my office. It's only going to take a few minutes, and it's really ultimately going to make you guys have a better experience. I've been doing this a long time. I've helped a lot of people buy homes. I want to give you guys that same experience, but I need you to come into the office beforehand for that. And again, you want to have this initial consultation. You want to have this initial consultation because you're able to do the counseling aspect of that. And that's what you want to start off with, is the counseling aspect. Before you start kind of getting into the details of what it is that you're going to do and what you expect them to do and all that, that comes second after the counseling process. You're going through this counseling process to figure out, again, what those needs are, what the wants are, get them to start to open up to you and really understand what's going on. And now, this is something that rarely ever gets done with buyers. Most agents, especially in the real estate day and age, the state of real estate that we have today, I'll name drop the show there, the state of real estate we have today, where a lot of these realtors that are advertising on Zillow and Truly on Realtor.com, or even if you've got your own website and there's traffic coming into there, or maybe you've got listings and people are calling on the listing. They're going to be calling about that particular property, that they want details on that particular property, that they want to see that particular property. But look, the chance that they've just stumbled across that property that's perfect for them, and it just so happens that's the one that they called you about, the one that they're going to buy. And this is why you don't want to get frustrated when they don't buy that house it is that you showed them. A lot of agents, what they'll do is they'll get this lead in, and they'll have whatever property, whether it's Zillow or whatever it may be. They say, hey, look, I saw this on 123 Main Street on Zillow. When can you show me the property? Oh, I could show you the property at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Does that work for you? Okay, let's go see the property. Oh, you don't like the property? Okay, well, I could show you some more here. Oh, no, you'll call me? All right, bye. And then you're stuck doing it all over again and stuck in this endless cycle of never getting business. Where's the problem here? Well, before you take them to this house and let them be disappointed about this house, you need to start building the relationship with them. And that's what you're doing in this consultation process. You should not work with a buyer. If you guys do one thing after watching this show today, it's do not work with a buyer without first having at least a 5-minute consultation. At least. And chances are, if you get them to sit down for 5 minutes with you, get them to sit down with you for a half hour when they start to see that this is a worthwhile experience of you going through and kind of qualifying them. Not qualifying them financially. That should come after we've got this process here. Oh, and before we go look at this property, look, you guys are going to want to have the pre-approval done already. I know you guys, and you already figured out if they did that already when you're going into this. I know you guys said you haven't talked to any lenders yet or anything like that, but that's essential to kind of know what our negotiating power is in this property here to see where it is that I need to get you, because that's going to change everything for how we go in and how we attack this property as a transaction and how we ultimately get you guys in the house it is that you want. With this market that we have right now, it's essential that we're able to make them offer immediately to either, number one, beat any other buyers to it. If we've got the seller market, we've got to beat all the other buyers to this. Or number two, if this is a buyer's market where there's lots of buyers, sellers don't want to waste their time with a buyer who's not qualified. So whether this is a buyer's or seller's market, so what that means is any market, you need to have a pre-qualification going into this so you're ready to negotiate right off the bat. You don't have to worry about doing this after the fact, and it makes your job easier as well, because now you're not going to end up showing them homes that they may or may not be able to afford. So you do that as well, but the qualification that I'm talking about, the qualification is that you do as a real estate professional is getting to know their house needs. So you could qualify, okay, these are the needs, these are the wants. The wants, again, are always secondary to the needs. These are the things that we need to have. This is the price point where we need to be. And how do we find out for sure that's the price point where we need to be? We have that pre-qualification done. That pre-qualification will get us the exact price range. And another way you can go about this pre-qualification is like, okay, great, I've got all these details of the house here. Now, given everything it is that you guys want, we might not be able to find that in the price range you guys are thinking, but you might be able to qualify for a higher amount than what you're thinking for. Let's have you talk to the loan officer just so they could do a quick pre-approval. It's just going to take a few minutes, and they'll be able to give us a range of what we could go up to for this year, because people are always excited about being able to buy a more expensive house. You don't want to go about it with the angle of saying, well, let's see if you guys are even going to qualify for this year. Let's see if you're even going to be able to afford a $250,000 house. You know, I heard what you guys said you do for a living. I don't think that's possible. Let's see what the lender says. Let them run your credit. Before I show you a house, let's see if you've even got good credit. What's going to happen there when you're having that? You don't have to say those specific words like I was just saying, but think of that tone it is that you're conveying to the client by basically implying that they might not be able to afford the house it is that they think they can afford. So that's not the way to go about this. The way to go about it is, hey, look, what you guys are looking for, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to find you the ideal home within this price range, but the good news is the lenders are really excited. The lenders are really motivated to loan out money to buyers right now. So let's get you talking to the loan officer we've got right here next door, we've got here in my office, or that we've got a phone call away. Let's have you talk to them real quick and find out what's the most amount of money you guys would be able to afford. Look, there's no obligation for you guys to spend that much money, but just in case we find the perfect house that's a little bit outside your price range, that you guys are ready to go and you know it's going to be a possibility. So now we're going at that angle, and what may happen sometimes, they might not be able to qualify for any type of home. And if you need to make a sale, you don't want to show homes to somebody who can't qualify for a mortgage loan. Maybe they've got to do some credit repair. That's fine. Stay in contact with them, stay in touch with them, and basically follow up with them, because they could fix the credit. Maybe get them in touch. Again, we're the overseer. We're the executive here. Hey, look, I've got a great credit repair person here. They could probably get you guys fixed up within a couple of months here. Give them a call. Talk to them, get some sort of plan figured out, and I'll stay in touch with you guys. I'll keep sending you some of the properties so you can kind of stay up to date on what's available. But look, I really still want to work with you guys here, even though the lender said we can't make that, they're not going to be able to make the loan right now. And there we go. We've still got the relationship with them. We're still tying this connection together, and we might be able to get them to buy a home 6 months, a year from now. But you don't want to spend time now showing them that property. So again, you want to look at these things. When there's an issue, a lot of agents, the way they react to somebody not getting qualified for a loan is, get out of my office. Get out of here. I don't want to even look at you. What are you doing in here wasting my time showing houses when you know you've got a 400 credit score? Get out of here. Get. That's the way most agents treat people when they can't qualify for a loan. And I mean, it sounds comical the way I'm saying that there, but it's the tone, it's the idea that they've got in their head. What are they doing wasting my time? That's what they're thinking. They're not saying that. They might be saying something with a smile on their face, but it comes across, even if it's just in your body language. And that creates an experience where they're not going to call you back when they do qualify to buy a house. Chances are, if they came in to talk to you or they wanted to see a house, they want to buy a house. Even if it's just a dream of theirs, but they want to be able to do it. They should be able to do it someday. And you want to cherish that relationship. Hey, look, I wish there was more I could do. I'm so sorry that the lender isn't able to qualify for you for that. And again, don't make it about them. Oh, your credit. Ugh, get out of here. I don't want to catch your bad credit. Is that contagious? Is bad credit contagious? A lot of agents treat these clients with bad credit like they've got some sort of disease. That, bad credit, get away from me. Go take your sorry self somewhere else. Go in another real estate office and go waste their time. That's not how you want to treat your clients. And, they're not a client. They can't even qualify for a home. Yes, they are a client. They came in and spoke to you. They came to you to see homes. It's your job. You might think, and you're not an order taker. As a real estate, executives are not order takers. Remember, you're the executive of the transaction. You're not an order taker. You're not there to answer the phone. Oh, you want to see a house at 11 a.m. tomorrow? Okay, yeah, I could do that. No, that's not what you're there to do. You're just like, oh, good, great, that's a nice looking house. I'm actually pretty excited to see that as well. But look, before we go and check out the house, I just need you guys to come into my office here. We've got to go ahead and take care of some paperwork here, but don't worry, it's not going to cost you guys anything for this year. I've already got agreements with almost every seller in the Bay Area here to pay me the commission, so you guys don't have to, worry about that. But we've just got to get some stuff taken care of in the office before we go take a look at the house. Are you able to meet a half hour beforehand at blah, 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 blah at this address? And there you go. That's all you need to do. Get them in there, talk to them, start the qualification process of understanding them, understanding who it is that they are. And yes, you might waste a half hour on somebody who ultimately ends up not being able to be approved for the loan, but when they are approved for the loan, this little prerequisite that we're doing ahead of time, we're counseling them, we're finding out. We might find out in this initial time period here that this client isn't at all, that this house was not right for this client at all. Maybe they just looked at the picture of the outside there and the price and they're like, oh, look, nice home. I want that home. And then you find out what it is that they want, and you're looking at your information in the MLS and you're like, well, this home isn't right for you guys here. But look, I think this home is going to be a good one. Let's go take a look at this one instead. I think you're going to like this one a lot better. Don't waste your time showing them a home that you know they're not going to like. And a lot of agents will say, oh, well, they need to see it for themselves so they can make the decision on themselves. People are very indecisive creatures. They're very indecisive creatures. That's why it's your job to really understand, okay, this is what they need, this is what they want, this is the price range that they want, this is the price range they can afford. Okay, let's put these pieces together here and make that decision easy for them. The more houses it is that you show them, the more difficult that decision becomes. So again, it's your job to kind of make this whole process nice and easy and make it a smooth transaction as possible. And the same goes if you're working with a seller. Again, talking with a seller, and the seller, I don't have to harp on this as much because every sales agent or broker in almost every transaction goes on a listing appointment before they obtain the listing. They go to basically give their pitch on why they should list the property with them. And what that does is that sets the tone of, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I need you guys to do. This is this, and that. Okay, we're all on the same page. Great. And that's why, on average, it takes a third of the time to work with a seller as opposed to the buyer. But you want to take that same kind of consultation, appointment process that you're doing with the sellers and apply the same thing on the buying side. But either one of these, your goal is to get as clear as possible with what their needs and motivations and also what their wants are as well, to tie all this together, to bring all these pieces together. Again, you're the executive, and what executives do is executives put puzzle pieces together. They take the people that are really good at mortgages, they take the people that are really good at closing, they take the seller and buyer that want to buy and sell, and they put all these people together. And you get paid a fee, you get paid a commission for bringing this all together and making this actually happen. So that's really kind of a good summation, I would say, of what your job is. And yes, there's a lot more particulars, there's a lot more details, but remember, ultimately your job is to get the buyer to buy the home that they want. To get the seller to, not even the home that they want, the home that they need. It's not the home that they want, it's the home that they need. So it's your job to help them get the home it is that they need. And how do you get the home it is that they need? You help them understand the home it is that they need. If you want to help a seller sell the property, and again, it's your job to help them understand the sale price that they need. They might say, well, this is the sale price I want. Okay, well, do you want to sell your home? Because that sale price is ridiculous. You're not going to be able to sell it for that much. Or when they do want to go off of that price, maybe you're not strong enough in the beginning of pricing the property right. And you tell them, hey, look, this price that we initially established, I told you guys before, and don't even say that. You don't want to have the I told you so moments, but you could kind of say that in the back of your head if it makes you feel any better. Hey, look, I know we talked about this before, about the pricing. And look, we're a month into this and we haven't had any offers on the property. Do you guys still need to sell? And this all comes down to, at the beginning, if you're able to do this in the beginning, which you should be able to, okay, do you need to sell? Yes, you need to sell. No, you don't need to sell. Well, why are you selling? Let's talk about those wants and now turn that want into a need. Because when you have the need behind things, needs are what make things happen. When you have a need and you have to do something, or a requirement to do something, that's when things get done. And those wants can become a requirement. They can become a need, something that you need to do. But it's your job to really find out, okay, let's figure this out here. Maybe there's a house that is, and sometimes when it is that, okay, I want a larger home, okay, well, let's figure out what that larger home is, and let's get the the need behind, yes, I need this home. This home is going to be sold eventually. I need to get this home before it's sold. Okay, therefore you need to sell your home before that other home sells. Before that home that you want sells, you need to sell your home. And now when you have the need, that's where we're able to, okay, well, what's that price point that we need to get into that new home? What do we need to be at? So that's what your job is as a real estate professional in kind of a nutshell. Again, it does get more detailed and more elaborate than that, but overall, you're the executive in this whole process. You're the one counseling people, bringing people together. When it starts falling apart, you're picking the pieces back up and putting it together. And why do you do all this? Because this transaction is your duty, it's your obligation, and it's your responsibility. You're the one that's responsible for this. You don't get paid. You don't get to feed your family if this transaction doesn't go through. So it's your obligation. And now you might say, oh, well, that's unethical to you have your needs displayed out on the sellers like this to tell the sellers, well, look, I need to feed my family, so I need to sell your house. Well, look, if the sellers need to sell their house, they need you to get the job done, so it's a win-win. That's why you got to get them on the same page of, okay, how do you need to sell? What makes you need to sell the house rather than just want to sell the house? Because that's maybe where you're being unethical. If they don't want to sell their house and you're making them sell their house, yeah, that's the used car salesman type of approach there. It works. You might be able to close a couple of homes that way, but that ultimately isn't, it makes your job difficult. It makes it difficult for your word of mouth because you're kind of not so nice of a person going through that process. So you need to get them on the same page of, okay, this is what we need. Okay, you've got a need, I've got a need, we both got needs. Let's make this happen. Let's make this go through. That's all I've got for you guys this week. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed already or liked the page, make sure you do that. Best place to do that is at tampaschool.com/success. That's tampaschool.com/success. You can drop your email in there, and then whenever it is that we go live, you're able to get an email. Put your email in at tampaschool.com/success. Drop your email in there. Whenever we go live, you'll get an email. So you don't miss out on any of these live streams. And even if you're not able to watch with us live, we have all the recordings on tampaschool.com/success. If you guys liked today's episode, go to tampaschool.com/success. You could rewatch this episode. You could rewatch previous episodes. We've got a lot of great content for you on there. If you're interested in starting your career in real estate, I know we've got a lot of you guys watching that are thinking about starting a career in real estate. Give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Again, that's 813-928-0106. Or check us out at tampaschool.com. That's tampaschool.com, where you can find everything it is that you need to start your career in real estate. Thank you guys for tuning in today. Make sure you tune in next Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time, and also tune in on Wednesday at 12 noon Eastern Time for our show, Ask the Instructor. But most importantly, take the information I've given you today. Even if you're not in real estate, or even especially if you are in real estate, take control of what it is that you're doing. And how do you take control of what it is that you're doing? You know what it is that you're doing first and foremost. You've got to know what you're doing to take control of it. So all I've got for you guys today. I will see you next week. Have a great weekend. And remember, subscribe. Are you thinking about a career in real estate? Hey, I'm John Chrisma with the Tampa School of Real Estate, and we've helped thousands of people just like you obtain their real estate license. If you're thinking about a career in real estate, give us a call. The phone number is 813-928-0106. Our advisors are standing by to answer any questions you have and assist you in any way they can.
Do you want to incorporate studying for your real estate exams into your busy schedule? Now you can review the key topics you need to know to pass your class and state exams with our MP3 audio review. Simply pop in your headphones or connect to your car to reinforce crucial information while you exercise or drive. Listen to the first unit for free at mp3audioreview.com. That's mp3audioreview.com.
I have done for my love.
Hey, if you're enjoying the show today, which I'm sure you are, be sure to hit like, subscribe, post your comments, share with your friends and family. Thank you guys so much for watching.
You are watching
State of Real Estate. every Friday at 12 noon Eastern Time. Grow your real estate business. You're watching State of Real Estate.